All right, everybody, it is 9 o'clock. Let's get right into it. We do this show every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitter Spaces. I'm Alan Gay, and this is Now D1 Speaks. I am really excited about tonight. We have got Zachary Long joining us. He is a JUCO, he's a redshirt sophomore. He's from Southeastern Community College in North Carolina. He's uncommitted right now, and we're going to have a great conversation. Hey, Zachary, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Outstanding, man. Really looking forward to this. So happy to talk with you. Hey, why don't you introduce yourself and maybe even go back to, where you went to high school as well, and maybe your first stop in college, any travel teams you played with, what your current GPA is, and hey, man, what got you into baseball?
Yeah. So I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, a small town 20 minutes outside of Raleigh, called Fuquay-Varina. I went to high school there. Played in high school, and I got recruited from there to play at UNC Pembroke. They're a Division II in North Carolina, past Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's in Pembroke, North Carolina, Lumberton area. Was there for my first 2.5 years of college, and I had just transferred into Southeastern this past spring semester uh, for some playing time. I wasn't going to get the opportunity over at UNC Pembroke, so I transferred over there to Southeastern to get some playing time. My GPA is 3.6. I mean, I don't really like school, but I just I just take it seriously and take care of that aspect of everything so I can just worry about baseball whenever I play. And as far as getting into baseball, I've always grown up with it. I mean, me and my dad went back. We played it when I was 3 years old, 4 years old, always starting young. Um, so it's always been a part of my life. But as far as showcasing throughout high school, I played with Rawlings Prospects all 4 years of high school for summer ball, pretty much. And the recruiting process was definitely different for me than a lot of other people going up through it. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into baseball and what's led me up to this point right now.
Hey, man, what a great rundown. I am so glad that I had this muted. I mean, I laughed out loud, literally, when you said you don't like school and you got a 3.6 GPA.
Yeah,
I can I can appreciate
yeah,
that. I mean, hey, school's not fun. In many cases, it's something that you have to do. It's a means to an end. So, congratulations on that GPA. That is a fantastic GPA. So you're a redshirt sophomore. What year are you academically?
So I am going into my senior year academically because I'll be going into my redshirt junior year athletically. Um, so yeah, 2 years eligibility left on the field, and so yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be my senior year academically. But with going to the community college this past spring, I almost delayed myself academically a little bit just so that I can get my playing time. And I mean that can you got to sacrifice something, right? So I kind of gave up where I was ahead of in school because I was getting ready to start a master's program at Pembroke. Um, but I put that on hold just so that I could bet on myself and play, put up some numbers, see what else I can do. But yeah, I should be going into my senior year or yeah, senior year, fourth year academically.
Man, that's outstanding, honestly. And you know what? You put up some great numbers, and we're going to get into that later. You put up some fantastic numbers while you were at Southeastern as well. So, when you came out of high school, just so that I have a little bit of an
Hmm.
understanding, what led you to UNC
Yeah.
Pembroke?
So, like I said, the recruiting process for me was different. Uh, I didn't have any schools reaching out to me throughout high school. They were mostly it was mostly me emailing them like nonstop. And at the time, I'd never gone through any of that process before, so I didn't know how to do it. So you're looking up YouTube videos trying to figure out what the right thing is to send and taking in everything you can to email schools and how to get your name out there. So you go to a bunch of showcase camps, spend a ton of money on those. You go all these emails and prospect camps at the colleges. And Pembroke originally, I'd gone to one of their camps, like at their school, my sophomore year, and had a good camp. They didn't hear from him for about a year. Saw him again, talked to him for a little bit, and they're like, "We're full at catcher." I was like, "Great!" So I'm going into my senior season with no offers, no schools of interest, and then for some reason I had gotten a call from him saying, "Hey, we just had a catcher quit. We need a guy to come in for next year. Would you still be interested?" So went to a camp, did good there, and then during the fall of my senior season, I went to a camp there, did good, and they offered me a roster spot, and so that's how I got into UNC Pembroke to play baseball. So that's what led me there.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, actually, I know you wanted more playing time and so forth, but it sounds like it was a good move. I mean, it got you into college, got you tons of experience, you got a lot of classwork done as well. And then ultimately, that really led, you had gotten pretty far ahead academically. And so you were thinking about your own athletic career, and that led you to
Mhm.
Southeastern. How did that work out? How did you end up
Yeah.
there?
So another kind of crazy little chain of events. I had a great fall going into this past fall. I had a great fall, especially at the plate. Was either leading the team in batting average or the top performer in batting average. Got told wasn't going to play, so I was like, all right. So I transferred. Uh, was looking at going to Lewisburg Community College, another school in North Carolina. It's a little bit more north, up toward closer to Virginia, and had talked with a coach around Thanksgiving. Uh, Basically, was like, "Cool, we sounds good. You can come here." Haven't heard from him in about a month. Finally got accepted into the school. Told him I got accepted, and he reached back out to me saying, "Probably not the best fit for you." So was left around Christmas time with nowhere to go, and it came down to I DM the coach Burns over at Southeastern on Twitter, and he responded right away. And it was between them and another school locally to me called Wake Tech, and Wake Tech never really reached out to me. So I ended up just choosing Southeastern because it was coming up on about a couple weeks left in the winter break, going into the spring semester. So I was like, "This is my opportunity. I might as well take it." So that's where I ended up.
Well, I would say right now you're really in your comfort zone,
Yeah,
kind of based on the way you came out of high school and the way you came out of your sophomore, well, I guess your sophomore year, but the way you came out of
hmm,
UNCP. I mean, it's right down to the wire. So here you are
yeah.
again. It's kind of coming right down to the wire. You're in your comfort zone, man. This is where you
I know
belong.
it's like a keeps repeating itself, doesn't it?
No question about it. I love it. Hey, so just a minute ago, you obviously mentioned that you play
Hmm.
catcher. Okay, so kind of let us know what are your strengths, and then yeah, I hate for you to have to say this, but maybe just a couple things that you're working on.
Yeah, yeah. So I could start with what I've been working on. So it kind of goes into me as a full player. So I consider myself as like a late bloomer. I didn't really figure out too much about how I can develop and all the other stuff along with it until about my sophomore year in college. Uh, and that came along with the help of teammates, friends from different schools. I mean, hometown friends, everything. Here, my parents, my the YouTube. I mean, I do endless research looking up stuff on how to develop. But one thing for me was I had really quick feet and I was really good at exchanging, but my arm wasn't the strongest. So I mean, I dedicated so like the summer and the winter, nonstop, just long tossing until hopefully my arm would get stronger. I started lifting weights more, got into a more serious weightlifting program, uh, just from learning from my roommates at the time and other teammates as I came up through baseball. But from behind the plate, I mean, blocking and throwing have been my strengths. Uh, Receiving was something that I really, really worked on recently throughout the winter and throughout the spring, and I've improved drastically at that. Like it's a night and day difference. I just fully committed to it, and I set out trying to get better at it. nonstop, is doing something every day. Uh, so behind the plate, I'd say I've made huge changes as far as how I play the game, uh, and it's definitely benefited. It's definitely shown. I mean, I practice nonstop, and it definitely looks better than it did a few months ago.
Hey man, I appreciate your candor and kind of walking through all of that. My for the people that listen every now and then, I bring up my own son, and my son was recruited as a catcher, and I got to tell you, the art of receiving, that was one of the things that he loved the most. And to my eye, I had a difficult time figuring out what the heck he was doing. But I mean, my goodness, it is extremely
Oh yeah,
technical in the receiving
yeah,
piece. So, hey, man, I give you a lot of credit, especially jumping in the weight room and saying and recognizing a weakness, a perceived weakness, arm strength, and just really going after it. A lot of times it gets easier in life just to say, I don't want to do it. All right, I'm not that good at it. Then whatever, I'll make up whatever excuse I want to make up to make myself feel
hmm
better and just kind of move on. But to face it, head on like that and really put a plan in place to overcome it. I mean, that just says a lot about you, but it says a lot about your character and the way you've overcome each recruiting situation that you've been faced with already. Just a ton of maturity. Another little note that I wrote down while you were speaking was it's just amazing to me once you get into college how much you grow up. It's just kind of being on your own. And as I'm listening to you, you're working with your teammates, and just that aspect of not having mom and dad necessarily physically right there beside you. I mean, they're always going to support you, and you can reach out to them, and that's a sense of comfort and strength as well. But just to know that you're just on your own, it's quite amazing how much you grow up from your senior year to your freshman year of
yeah.
college,
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
and it's definitely a challenge because I mean, you think about it. When you're growing up, you got your dad or whoever it is throwing you BP. I mean, you get to school and they can't even come near the field, right? You can't even every day at practice. It's you got a machine, you either got a coach. It's something like you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And so for me, being because when I went into college, I think I was 177, 175. Uh, so as far as like the growth aspect of things, when I say late bloomer, like I didn't start really filling into my body until recently, like a few months ago, going into my third year, so junior year, going into this past year. And that's when I started taking the nutrition part, the weightlifting, training, everything. I mean, I fully committed to it, fully sold out. And it's not going to be a overnight growth aspect, right? It's going to be uh, day to day, and it's going to show over months. Well, it's definitely showing. I mean, I went from 175, 177 to 195, and I'm shooting for 200, like in good, healthy weight. And I'm doing it the right way. And I mean, that's good. So it definitely shows you the growth. But it's definitely a big step forward once you go from high school in your comfort zone, shooting out to college, and you don't really have your parents there physically with you, like you said.
Man, absolutely. And I love that 20-pound gain. That's not the freshman
No,
15
no,
that you
no,
hear
no.
about. I mean, that's
That was
right.
hard work, and that was about a year process going at it.
Man, that's awesome. And what's your
I
height?
am 5'11".
5'11", 195.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's big. You're in the weight room a
Oh
good
yeah.
bit?
So throughout the season, it was probably like 2 to 3 days a week, just depending on how I was able to incorporate it with our games. Especially recently, this past season, because I was playing right. But all season, as far as winter and summer, it's 5 days a week. And another weakness, going back to something I need to work on is strength in my legs. Right, the catcher, you're nonstop 9 innings. Your legs are shot, so you got when you go to hit in the ninth inning or eighth inning, your legs are just out from under you. So I really made it a priority this past winter and this summer, especially on crushing the legs. Hit and try to hit every muscle group, do everything you can. And then, I mean, you're working out, you're working hard. You got to be able to replenish your body. I take the sleep serious, the recovery, everything. But I'm definitely in there. And on top of the 5 days a week, it's probably 5 to 6 days a week. I'm doing something baseball related, whether it be catching drills, hitting, throwing, it's something. So yeah.
Man, you know what, Zachary? I'm just I'm really happy that you're on tonight. And maybe this is selfish for me. I mean, my core audience is uncommitted high school prospects, and I think it is so valuable for those guys to hear someone firsthand that has college experience, that's going through the day to day, and to kind of really hear, and I hope they get the appreciation that it takes to really truly be successful at the next level. It's so much work. It's kind of incredible. I mean, in many ways, you know, pro athletes have it easier than college athletes because they don't have to worry about schoolwork.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you were doing a full-time job to stay on the baseball field, and oh, by the way, you got to take a full class
Yeah.
load.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, it's kind of quite incredible when you put all that together. Hey, everybody that's joining, thank you so much for being here. We absolutely appreciate it. If you came in late, don't worry about it. We record this space, so we'll retweet it out later. You'll be able to hear it in its entirety. So I got to believe you got a lot of answers to this next question I want to ask you, and it's about motivation, you know, and just kind of listening to your story here over the last couple of years, I can only imagine. But what is it that you do to really kind of stay motivated to keep improving and to kind of keep pushing yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a ton of different answers for that. The main one is that my goal and end result, my dream is to probably like a lot of other kids is to play professionally. I've always wanted to since I was little, and I know how much work it takes to get to that point, especially for someone in my position where they didn't have the strength per se, like when they were younger. They didn't have all the opportunity in the world for other people to see them. It was just like that's just been something I want to achieve. And seeing big leaguers play all the time, I mean, they live the life. I mean, you go there, you watch them, they just show up into it's literally like a theater. They're an entertainment. So I mean, it's a dream, and I shoot for that every day. Another thing is through growing up and through going through all the baseball process stuff, there was a lot of people that set a ceiling to my own ability, right? Like they're like, well, you're not 6'2", 230. You're 5'11", 170 something. It's like, so they set a restriction to what you can and cannot do. So that's definitely been something that keeps me motivated to keep pushing, to not only prove them wrong, but to show myself how much I can do. Uh, and through hard work and whatnot, you can achieve endless, whatever you set your mind to. So as long as I can get the opportunity to go play somewhere and keep pushing for it, you get really one shot at this. I'm not going to just roll over and be like, oh, all right, well, I'm 5'11", 175. It's just not for me. Like there's people in there in the MLB that were not born with all the strength and all the height in the world, right? They trained for it. And so having that in mind, having an end result of what I want to be and want to look like, right? That helps me get to it. I mean, all those factor into what motivate me to get to where I want to be and to keep going at the rate that I'm going.
No doubt about it, man. I love that. That's so impressive. And the thing of it is, you keep referencing the 5'11", 175. Man, you're 5'11", 195.
Mm-hmm.
You led Southeastern in batting average. You threw out the most runners in your league. I mean, you know, and I think that's just incredible. You know, when I kind of think back, and I hate to keep harping on it, but you can't help it. I mean, one of the things that you were questioning for yourself, you had great feet, great footwork, super technique, but you were worried about your arm, and you just took that on full force and started working on developing strength and arm strength. And look at the results that you put on the field here in your last year. So, I mean, that just speaks volumes to, you're motivated to keep getting better because you've got a track record of getting better. Hey, and I can only imagine this too, you know, especially somebody who's been playing since they were 3 years old and playing a ton of baseball with their dad, and their dad was coaching them. And then they played, I'm sure, high-level baseball, played Division II, University of North Carolina, Pembroke, had the opportunity to play JUCO. And JUCO is, people can say whatever they want. JUCO is big-time
Yeah, and not
baseball.
not to interrupt you, like the competition that I saw playing, like just being around Pembroke and then going to a junior college, it not that far off. Like I saw dudes throwing harder in junior college than I did at Pembroke. I faced multiple lefties throwing 93 to 96. I mean, there is talent there. It's ridiculous. So yeah, sorry, not to interrupt you, but yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
No, I'm glad you did interrupt me. You're 100% right. Again, our core audience are uncommitted high school prospects. And I know a lot of those guys have this D1 or only, mentality. And, one of the easiest pieces of advice to give to somebody in high school is just, hey, man, go to the area college. It doesn't matter if it's D2, D3, be a JUCO, D1, whatever your area college is, go check out a practice. And you hear that all the time. You go check out a practice, look at the guy that plays the position you play, and you tell me if you could play there. And it doesn't really matter the level because these guys are men that are out there and they're big time performers, and so that I'm down here in Orlando, Florida, and the junior colleges that are in Florida are phenomenal. University of Central Florida they just won the national championship in junior college. And then you look at the D2 level that's down here, it is ridiculous. There are plenty D1 schools probably in the Midwest and so forth that cannot compete with the D2s that are down here in Florida. I mean, there is so much good baseball across the country. So I appreciate you bringing that piece up 100%. Hey, let me ask you something. With you brought up your GPA at a 3.6, and you even made the comment that you don't even like going to school. So how do you balance your academic commitments, with the baseball commitments and still have a GPA of
Yeah,
3.6?
so I guess it'd be more of a perspective to it, right? So if I don't, and that's something that I've always been able to do, is have a, a different perspective on it than most people do, whether that be like now I'm not where I want to be as far as physically in strength or in weight, whatever it may be, right? Or talent. But eventually, if I keep doing these things and making these sacrifices, I'll get to where I want to be. But so for the school part, it's like, okay, if I don't do so and so, like if I don't do this assignment, this paper, then that's going to be more stress later on for me. And so when I go out to practice or go out to the field, now I'm thinking about what I did and did not do in the classroom. And now I'm sitting here like, well, now I'm stressed about something else. So then my performance isn't going to be where it needs to be because my mental state is going to be distracted by that, right? So I have to have all my focus put on baseball when I'm playing baseball. Can't have it elsewhere. So putting that into perspective and knowing that if I can knock out what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it, and as far as the school side of things, then going to play baseball, that's the easy part. I don't have to worry about anything in the classroom. I don't need to be stressed about homework or a test or a project or any of that. I can just do that when I need to do it, and as soon as I leave the classroom or my laptop, whatever it may be, and I go to do baseball, I'm going to do baseball with everything, my focus, everything, you know?
I do know. Man, you're taking all the talking points, Zachary. I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, that is it. I mean, if you're doing the things that you're supposed to do today, you don't have to worry about them
Yep,
tomorrow, right?
yep.
And if you're taking care of the academic piece, it allows you to completely focus on baseball when you're out there. And I think you just worded that perfectly. It's not in the back of your mind and you're sitting there thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is what I should have done when I get home from practice. I got to do this," or worse yet, you're sitting there thinking in the middle of a game, "Why didn't I do such and such?" Now I got to contact the professor, tell him I want to turn this late. Say, "Hey, I had a baseball game. Could you give me a break here?" And you don't want to be
Yeah,
thinking
right.
about that when you're in the middle of a game. So you're taking all the talking points, man. You're super
Oh, but yeah.
mature. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah.
Hey, again, everyone that's joining, thank you very, very much for being here. We absolutely appreciate it. We do this Twitter space, as I said, Monday through Thursday. We record it and we take that recording and we turn it into a podcast. The podcast is now D1 Speaks, and it is on every platform that you could possibly imagine out there. I would personally appreciate it if you like what you're hearing, if you would just find that podcast, Now D1 Speaks, subscribe to it, and man, I would absolutely appreciate a 5-star rating. Tonight we're talking with Zachary Long. Zachary is a redshirt sophomore. He's at Southeastern Community College, and he's transferring. So it's a big opportunity for him, and we are very, very grateful to have him on. So let me ask you something. Are there any particular players or coaches that have really been influential, maybe kind of stick out? It could be high school level or certainly college level that have really helped you in your
Yeah.
development.
Three people specifically do come to mind. Two of them are teammates. The other one was my dad. Uh, at Pembroke, I had for the weight training aspect of things. My roommate at the time, he is obsessed with weightlifting. He used to play baseball. He was a physical like stud. This dude, he hit the gym all the time. He knew all the things about nutrition, exercise, all the nerdy stuff about all that stuff. And I learned for 2.5 years, 3 years, just listening to him because he'd talk about it all the time. He was majoring in exercise science, so he knew all the stuff, and he grew up with it, so he knew all about it. Other person was my high school teammate, my best friend. He's a pitcher at UNCW now. As far as the arm strength and more of a baseball side of things, and just how to approach certain situations, I was able to take from him and reach out to him and ask him about, hey, what do you do to build your arm strength? What do you do to maintain your arm strength, your arm health, your leg? Like, because he's built, he's a big guy. He's got. I asked him about workouts, what he eats, how he does certain things, and those two have definitely helped me develop and learn how I can develop because everybody is different, right? Everyone's got their own little puzzle. I mean, once you figure it out, then you're kind of set, but it just takes some people longer. So I was fortunate enough to have those guys around me. And then my dad's been with me through the whole recruiting process. So I've had, and working out, practicing, and all that other stuff. He's helped me. I mean, since I was obviously 3 years old, he introduced me to the sport, but he's there every day to help me practice. So I'm fortunate enough to have that uh, aspect and all those people in my life to help me get to where I want to be. And that's another thing that I've learned as I've gotten older is to learn from other people that are like almost experts in your own mind to a certain field or certain side of things that you want to benefit from. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out to them and asking them for help. I mean, that's how I've gotten my arm strongest, how I've learned about working out and how I've developed my own workout programs to benefit and to better myself, right? So those are definitely the three people that stick out to me as far as benefiting me throughout this whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just as we continue to talk, and I really have been enjoying tonight so much, Zachary. And one of the things that I appreciate about you is your maturity, as I've brought up a couple times in the past. But one of the things that comes along with that maturity is recognizing your own weaknesses and not shying away from it or running from it, but instead looking to others that are stronger. And as you say, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to them to get some guidance. And I think the thing that's and I would imagine you probably being well, I haven't asked you about it, but I would say you're probably being a little humble about it. There's times I'm sure where other people are probably reaching out to you. And it's one of those things. Once you realize that this is what I'm not so good at, let me go to somebody that's really good at it and it makes you better, you're more apt to help others too. When somebody comes to you, then you're like, yeah, let me show you what's going on and how I overcame whatever that
Oh
is.
yeah, and it's funny, I've definitely taken that on without realizing it, right? I mean, going through endlessly, like not knowing how to do certain things or what the right way about how to go about certain things, has definitely led me to wanting to help others that reach out to me. or you don't even reach out to me. Sometimes I say some stuff to like teammates at the time. They probably don't want to hear it, but I'm sitting there like, yeah, I might be able to help you. But that's definitely for sure. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Absolutely. So do you have any pregame rituals? And what I'm kind of referring to, like, pregame, is there some kind of mental aspect or routine that you like to go through to get ready for a game?
Yeah. Yeah. No. So over the years, I've definitely researched. I mean, I've researched a ton from all different types of sports. I mean, football, baseball, MMA, it's like super athlete, the guys that are at the top of their sport, performance wise, they all have the mental strength like you wouldn't believe it. So they all go through visualization, meditation, kind of, but those types of things. And I've taken those on and I've tried to learn about them and how to be able to do that. So certainly what I do and what I kind of found in benefits me the most, and this past season was a huge test for me, right? Like trying to see what works and what doesn't work. And what worked for me was the night most I try to every night go through a visualization of me in a certain situation, or me succeeding in a certain situation, or being at my dream, like where I want to be, see what it looks like, what it feels like, smells like, and put all these different sensory things into my mind. And I try to imagine that. And I mean, if you imagine succeeding and whatnot, it's definitely going to benefit you when you encounter that situation, because now you've already succeeded mentally, right? So now you just got to do what your muscle memory is and just go out there and perform. Another thing that I like to do is write down my thoughts going into it, write down why I am where I am and the reason, what it can benefit me and whatnot. But those things are definitely certain things that I've taken away from this past season, which was more of like a test to see what works and what doesn't work. And I think those things have helped me tremendously as far as performance wise and taking the stress off of myself, right? And just playing.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree 100% there. Hey, you were talking about your dreams and the things that you're writing down as well. And I got a feeling you probably do this for both, but I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I bet you write down some immediate goals that are right in front of you. But kind of talk to us about both aspects, like a short-term goal, and maybe that short-term goal is just getting through graduation, and then a long-term goal as well. Where do you really see yourself in the next 2, 5+
Yeah,
years?
so I've definitely gone through short-term goals, long-term goals through high school and through college, and I've learned that breaking it down into something so small as doing something the next day or that day, right, to benefit yourself. And I consider those are the short-term goals that I kind of look at. It's either day to day or it's a weekly thing. Did I get better this week? Did I do what I was supposed to? Did I stretch? Did I work on this mental content? Like, did I do certain things to benefit me, whether it be that day or week to week? Performance wise, like, how do I feel this week? Your sleep. I mean, all these factors go into it. And those are things that I would consider short term goals for me. But as far as long term goals, I mean, it can be stretched out to 20 years. But I mean, in my mind right now, long term goal is to be drafted, right? Whether or drafted or signed, whatever it may be, because there's endless possibilities. You don't know what can happen. But that's kind of where I have my sights set. And as soon as I reach that position, then it'll be another set of goals that I can set. But that's where the main focus is right now. Uh, I don't think altering it or having my idea like, oh, maybe if this doesn't work, then I can try this. Like, I don't think that that's going to benefit me mentally as far as going for it, right? Because you only get really one chance of being able to go for something like this, especially something so challenging and difficult to reach for. So it's just full on commitment to it and see what happens.
It's a great attitude, man. I love that. I love that description, the way you went through it. I think you're on the path. You set your path,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you're going to see it. You're going to see it through, and that's impressive. And I have no doubt you will see it through. Hey, if you're an uncommitted high school prospect, you could be a 23, 24, 25, or you could be a junior college uncommitted prospect. I would love to have the opportunity to talk to you and maybe kind of go through this experience that Zachary is going through. Please reach out to me on Twitter. I am at now_D1. I will tell you that we probably have maybe one or two, maybe three dates left in June, and then we're kind of booking into July, which is fine. We're going to run this series at least through the summer. I'm sure we'll go into the fall as well. And but if you have an interest in doing that, please reach out to me. I will tell you that coaches are listening to this, and I think Zachary could probably attest to this from his D2 experience and even junior college experience. Coaches are limited. They don't they don't necessarily have these enormous recruiting budgets where they can go across the country and see everybody. Heck, they can barely go across the state, right? Maybe they can't even go across the state. I mean, it's very challenging for coaches to have the time to be able to find quality kids to come into their program. And I think this forum kind of gives them an opportunity to say, all right, here's somebody with great stats. They got great video. I've heard from the guys that I trust that this is a quality person. Now let me listen to them. And when you hear someone like Zachary with the experience and the maturity that he has, the groundwork that he's already put in, not only physically, where he's developed his body, developed his game, but academically as well. I mean, that 3.6 GPA is big. I mean, that's a great GPA in college, especially when you're playing sports. I mean, you're working a full time job while taking college classes. That's a great GPA. And here's someone who's very far advanced into his collegiate career. It just gives coaches a sense of confidence that this is someone that understands what the day to day is like. I don't have to worry about him off the field. We can focus on the things that are really important to a coach, and that's a baseball game and really winning baseball games. So I love this forum. If you want to have an opportunity to get on, I really ask, just reach out to me and we'll figure it out and go from there. So, Zachary, you're a redshirt sophomore. You're stepping away from Southeastern, obviously. You're looking for another opportunity. You've been here before. You were kind of here in your senior year. You were also there when you were getting ready to leave University of North Carolina, Pembroke. Tell us a little bit about your recruiting process today, kind of like where you are and, hey, how are things going right now?
Yeah. So, like you said, in my comfort zone. So right now, I've been sending for about, I don't even know how many months. About every Sunday and Monday night, I send probably between 80 and 100 emails to colleges throughout the country. Uh, some of them, and I have my Twitter and all this other stuff in there, and some of them get back to me as far as email, and some of them don't respond. Some of them just follow me on my Twitter, and that's kind of the end of it. Uh, it's been tough so far. I've had one offer. Uh, I've had schools reach out to me saying, "Hey, we're interested," yada yada yada. Like, send us some more stuff, and then you reach back out to them, and then they no longer respond to you. I've had schools straight up say something to me, and then they don't even respond to my response. I've had other guys. I mean, and thankfully, there's some schools that are just straightforward and like, "Hey, we don't have enough space right now for catchers. We're full of catcher." And those are unfortunate, but it's better for that to happen, right? As opposed to having to send them more and more stuff and they don't need anybody else, right? So it's been a tough process so far. So right now it's still sending stuff out every weekend and hoping for the best. I mean, this Twitter, I'm trying to use this platform because you look at coaches' inboxes and there are thousands of emails. They do not get to all of them. And the Twitter was almost another way to reach out to them without having to send them an email. And it's an endless thing, a resource, right? Platform where somebody else can retweet it and my video might show up on somebody else's Twitter feed, but they're in a different state that I didn't even think about, right? So I've been trying to use this platform the best I can, as resourceful as I can, following as every coach. I mean, you look at my followers, I follow, I think, over 200 coaches, just following them, hoping for the best. But recruiting process right now has been tough. I'm hoping for other schools to reach out, and just see what we can do about it and see if I can find a program that's a good fit for me and a good fit for them. Because I'm looking for someone that can develop me and give me the exposure I need and the opportunity I need to get to where I want to be, right? So yeah, that's where I
A-
am.
Hey, absolutely, man. Hey, thank you for your candor and kind of going through that. The recruiting process is tough. It's tough on everybody.
Oh yeah, oh
You
yeah.
know, it's not easy, especially when you throw in the transfer portal, you throw in that COVID, you know, kids have got 6 years to play now. I mean,
Oh yeah.
there are a lot of guys across the country that are looking for opportunities, and I absolutely appreciate where you're coming from. But I will say, hey, man, what a blessing and congratulations! You do have an offer. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
is
That's right. Yep.
yeah, 100% right. That's big. There's nothing wrong with that. So you do have an offer and you're still working and you're just hey, you're looking for other opportunities as well. And anybody can appreciate that. Are you playing in a summer league or are you just working out on your own over the summer?
Yeah. So this is the first summer in I don't even know how many years that I am not playing any summer baseball. And the reason behind that for me was I saw this as an opportunity and a chance to fully commit to the physical side of things as far as weight training, my diet, my training regime, basically. Like, this is my chance to get ahead of everybody or catch up to some, even because, like I had said earlier, I'm not as physically gifted, I'm not as physically talented as some of these just studs, and I got to get to that point if I want to get to where I want to be. And over past summers, I noticed how challenging it was just to maintain my body weight because of how much I would burn off or how much time and resources that I would use just to be playing the game, right? So the training wouldn't be as intense. So my strength obviously would be more of a maintaining state. It would be really hard for me to kind of get stronger and develop that way. So I saw taking the summer off as from games is a chance to really just hit it hard in the gym and practicing and getting better that way.
I think that makes sense. And I can absolutely appreciate where you're coming from. I mean, you said you graduated in 2020.
From high school, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you're 20, working on 21,
Yeah, I'm going on 21 right now.
going on 21. So you have probably played almost year round, probably for the last 7, maybe even 8 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been a long time.
Right.
So seeing like a summer off, because I remember I was talking to my mom, and I was like, yeah, it feels good not to have to worry about going to play a game. But I mean, I'm still training, still working hard, so it's not fully off, but it's definitely off from worrying about traveling to a game or anything like that.
Absolutely, man. I can appreciate that 100%. No doubt about it. Hey, let me ask you something. Maybe we'll kind of wrap it up here on this last question. But what kind of advice would you give? And usually, what I do, when I'm talking to guys that are juniors, that are 24, uncommitted, and I'm thinking to myself, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's about to go into high school? But I think in this particular case, if what type of advice would you give to a 24 or a 23, that's in high school that's really looking for an opportunity to play in college? What would be the advice to them?
I'd certainly say to believe in yourself more than anybody else, because nobody's going to be there to pick you up when you fail. And that's in everything. It can mean school, baseball, whatever you want to put it in. But you believe in yourself, you can get to where you want to be. It's definitely a long process, and there's going to be more downs than there are ups. Especially, from my experience at least. Some guys get lucky, and that's great for them. It's where they get, you know, schools reaching out to them left and right. Other cases like mine, it's a brutal process where it takes time and commitment and a lot of energy to stay with it. Uh, so I'd definitely say believe in yourself most of all, and the more you believe in yourself, the more likely you are to get there. to wherever it is you want to be, right? So that'd be the biggest advice I could say.
What great advice. And no doubt about that. That is fantastic advice. Hey, Zachary, I cannot thank you enough for coming on. And I've enjoyed it tremendously because it's just refreshing to hear from someone that's kind of in the middle of it, that's really in the college experience and understands what it takes to be a college athlete. And I know, and maybe it's again a little bit on the selfish side, but I know my core audience, the uncommitted high school prospects, are going to appreciate hearing your experiences. And again, just thanks for being here. You didn't have to do this. I know this is a stressful time in your life, certainly. I don't doubt for one second that you're going to be successful. The the groundwork that you've already put in, the work you put in on the field, certainly off the field, is going to do nothing but benefit you. You're going to continue to grow from this. You have, I don't, I'll say luxury. You have the luxury of leaning on past experiences. You were in this exact same position probably, in June of your senior year in high school. You were in this same position June after 2 years at University of North Carolina, Pembroke. You know what it takes to kind of look for that next opportunity. I wish it was easier for you, but this is the path that, for whatever reason, you're going down. And it's a path that's just making you stronger. It is making you stronger every day. And it's going to make you a better baseball player. It's going to make you a better person. It'll make you a better student. It'll make you a better employee or employer. It'll make you a better husband, make you a better father. I mean, you're just going to continue to grow from this. And what's so incredible, it's just so awesome. Again, is I get so used to talking to uncommitted high school kids, and it blows me away how mature they are in so many aspects. But then to hear from someone on the next level, just a couple of years older, I mean, it's really remarkable. But at the same time, Zachary, you're right here at the front of your life. You're at the doorstep of the rest of your life. It's all right here in front of you. And you're in an awesome position. You're getting to do the things you love in regards to baseball, and you're putting down an academic record as well that's going to help you to succeed. So, man, I've really appreciated you being here, and I am wishing you nothing but success. And I hope you have great fortune kind of here moving
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. Thank you. No, I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully, this gets out there, whether it helps somebody or benefits me any. I mean, I appreciate it a lot.
Man, I hope it benefits both. I hope you benefited somebody else and you get benefit from it as well. I will tell you that tomorrow night we're going to kind of go back to our regular scheduled programming. I guess you could say we've got Walker Craig coming on. Walker is out of Tennessee. He's a 24 uncommitted. Really looking forward to talking to him and finding out what he's got going in the future. Hey, man, Zachary, I hope we're able to stay in touch. And if there's anything I can do for you, feel free to reach out to me. And I really appreciate you being here again. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on.
All right, guys, we're going to end it here. Thank you very much. Good night.